Hello guys, I'm Shreya and I welcome you all to my channel Knowledge Info. Today in this video, I'm going to be discussing about the latest traffic rules made by the Government of India, that is Ministry of Road Transport and Highways of India, and the challan being imposed on violating such rules as per 2023. I have divided this video into two parts. In this part, I will be discussing about the traffic rules and fines as per 2023, and in the second part, I will be discussing the method to pay traffic challan both online and offline. Therefore, in this video, I am going to be discussing about the general traffic rules for car owners and two-wheeler owners. Plus, I will also be telling you the new traffic challan and fine list or rates as per 2023 under the Motor Vehicles Act 1988 by comparing the previous challan rates. And at last in this video, we will also discuss about the latest or new amendments mentioned in the new rules for traffic. So stay connected till the end in order to gain proper information. So without any further ado, let's move towards our video. So before moving to the general traffic rules, we will discuss about the important documents which are needed for driving a two-wheeler, among which is the valid DL, which means a driver's valid driving license. The second is the Pollution Under Control Certificate, which is also known as the PUC. Third is the valid RC of the vehicle, which means valid registration certificate of the vehicle. And the third is the valid insurance certificate, which means the valid two-wheeler insurance policy. Here I would like to tell you that these similar documents are needed for driving the four-wheeler as well. Now, as we know that various accidents take place due to the negligence of the traffic rules by the drivers of the vehicle while riding the vehicle. So I would like to discuss the general rules which, if being followed with precaution, then the numerous accidents which are likely to take place could be avoided. So in this, at first I would like to discuss the general rules which are specifically for car owners and drivers. In this, the very first is that it must be ensured that you and the person on your front passenger seat are always wearing your seat belt. The second is, ensure you are always carrying your driver's license with you. If you only have a learned license, ensure someone with a valid license is seated with you in the passenger seat. The third is, always stay within your speed limit. Fourth is, always make way for emergency vehicles such as ambulances, fire engines and police cars. Fifth is, even though a soft copy is sufficient, it's always better to carry a physical copy of your car insurance in your dashboard. Additionally, always check your car policy expiry date and make sure you renew it maximum 1 or 2 days before its expiry. If you haven't yet bought your car insurance or are yet to renew your existing car insurance policy, renew it before it expires. Never try to bribe police officers because that's a crime in itself as per the new amendment. Never drive drunk. Even if you have consumed only a bit of alcohol, it's better to get dropped by someone else or by a friend or a cab instead. Now, let us discuss the general rules which are specifically for the two-wheeler owners and riders. The very first is, it must be ensured that the person riding the two-wheeler and the person seated next behind him, known as the pillion rider, both of them must be wearing the helmet. And it must be ensured by the manufacturers of the helmet that it must comply with the BIS guidelines, which means Bureau of Indian Standards guidelines. The features that a helmet should have according to these guidelines are that the weight limitation of the helmet was reduced from 1.5 kg to 1.2 kg. The minimum thickness of the helmet should be 20 to 25 mm and it must be of high quality foam. Helmets should have the ISI mark. Selling helmets without ISI mark is an illegal offense. The part of the helmet that covers the eye should be made of durable transparent material so as not to obstruct the rider's view. The next is that the protective head covering should pass the prescribed BIS test. These tests check the impact absorption under varying weather conditions and at different speed levels. And if you use a helmet that does not meet with the specified conditions and a traffic police officer catches you in this case, they will confiscate your helmet. The sellers of the product will also face an action. Second is, if you only have a learner's license, At least make sure someone with a valid two-wheeler license is seated behind you. Third is avoid riding in the wrong lane and follow road regulations as never go over your speed limit. And the other rules are similar to that of the general rules which were available for the car owners and drivers. In newly updates, the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways of India has declared some most alters in traffic instructions and challan charges. These alters are a part of the Motor Vehicles Amendment Act of 2019. The government introduced some drastic changes to the traffic violation fines. This made the relatively new rules far more stringent owing to the significant rise in fines. Effective since the 1st of September 2019 and with the aim of enhancing road safety, the Motor Vehicles Amendment comes with new traffic fines and violation penalties that you should be cautious of, as most of these fines have been increased by a large margin, especially for violations such as drunk driving, not giving way to emergency vehicles like ambulances and fire engines, driving without license, driving while speaking on the phone, and driving without a valid insurance amongst other traffic violations. Let's take a look at all the violations and the revised fines for the same. In simple words, let's discuss the new traffic challan or fine list as per 2023 under the Motor Vehicles Act 1988. Here in this, firstly I will tell you about the section which is related to the particular violation. Then after that I will be telling you about the penalty which is being imposed prior to the amendment and penalty which is being imposed after the amendment. Firstly, there is section 177 which covers the violation which is not being listed in any of the other violations, and the person who is being found committing such a violation is imposed with a penalty of ₹100 prior to the amendment, and after the amendment the penalty has been increased to ₹500. The next is the violation of road regulations which is under section 177A. The penalty which was imposed prior to the amendment was ₹100 and which was increased to ₹500 after the amendment. The next is the disobedience of order of authorities, which means not obeying the orders of the government, which is covered under section 179, on which the penalty imposed prior to the amendment was ₹500 and after the amendment it was increased to ₹2000. The next is unauthorized use of vehicles without a license, which is covered under section 180. Previously the penalty imposed on it was ₹1000 and after the amendment it was increased to ₹5000. The next is the driving without a driving license or riding without a driving license, which is under section 181. Previously the penalty imposed on it was ₹500, which was increased after the amendment to ₹5000. Next is driving without qualification, which is covered under section 182. Previously the penalty imposed was ₹500, which was increased to ₹10,000 after the amendment. The next is the oversized vehicles, which is under section 182B. Previously no penalty was imposed on it, but after the amendment the government imposed ₹5,000 penalty on it. Next is the overspeeding, which is under section 183. Previously ₹400 was imposed as a penalty on it, but after the amendment it was increased to ₹1000. Next is the dangerous driving penalty, which is under section 184, which means driving dangerously or riding dangerously or jumping the red light. The penalty imposed on it was ₹1000 before the amendment, and after the amendment it was being increased to ₹5000 plus 6 months to 1 year imprisonment plus the suspension of the license could also be imposed by the government in this case. The next is the drunk driving, which means driving or riding under the influence of an intoxicated substance, which is covered under the section 185. The penalty imposed prior to the amendment was ₹2000. After the amendment it was being increased to ₹10,000 plus 6 months imprisonment or ₹15,000 or 2 years jail for repetitive violation could also be imposed by the government. The next is the racing, which is covered under section 189. Previously the penalty imposed was ₹500 and after the amendment it was being increased to ₹5,000. Next is vehicles without permits, which is covered under section 192A. Previously the penalty was rupees 5,000. After the amendment it was increased to rupees 10,000. Next is the license violation, which is covered under section 193. Previously, no penalty was imposed on its violation by the government, but now after the amendment, rupees 25,000 to rupees 1 lakh could be imposed on its violation. Next is the overloading of vehicle, which is covered under section 194. Previously, rupees 2,000 and rupees 10,000 per extra ton was imposed as a penalty on its violation by the Government of India, which is after the amendment is rupees 20,000 and 2,000 per extra ton after the amendment. Next is the passenger overloading, which is covered under section 194A. Previously, no penalty was imposed on its violation, but now for every extra passenger, rupees 1,000 is imposed as a penalty. Next is the seat belt, which is covered under section 194B. Previously, rupees 100 was imposed as a penalty on its violation, which is now being increased to rupees 1,000 after the amendment. Next is the two-wheelers overloading, which is covered under section 194C. Previously, rupees 100 was imposed as a penalty on its violation, which is now being increased to rupees 2,000 plus 3 years license suspension could be imposed by the government. Next is not giving way to an emergency vehicle, which is covered under section 194E, which means not giving way to an emergency vehicle such as ambulances, fire engines, etc., for which no penalty was being imposed prior to the amendment. But after the amendment, rupees 10,000 is imposed as a penalty on its violation. Next is the driving without bike insurance policy, which is covered under section 196. Previously, rupees 1,000 was imposed as a penalty on its violation, but after the amendment, it was increased to rupees 2,000. Now, let us discuss some of the latest or new amendments mentioned in the new rules for traffic as per the Motor Vehicles Amendment Act of 2019. Firstly, any person who commits a violation of the driving license rules under the new amended law can be fined up to rupees 1 lakh. Plus, if the vehicle is driven at high speed on the road, then in such a situation from rupees 1,000 to rupees 2,000 may be imposed. Plus, if a helmet is not being worn, rupees 1,000 plus 3 months license suspension could also be imposed by the government. One change that has been put into action in India is the introduction of SHRP number plates. The commuters, irrespective of the type of vehicle they own, will have to install an SHRP number plate on every vehicle, or else if found guilty will be penalized for about rupees 5,000 to rupees 10,000. The Delhi Transport Department and the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways recently mandated that all vehicles have a high security registration plate, which is known as the SHRP plate, installed along with a color coded plate for vehicles that were sold prior to April 2019. Next law as per this amendment is that if a minor is caught driving, he will be fined up to rupees 25,000 and his license can also be seized till the age of 25 years. Next is that now it is not necessary to keep the hard copy of your DL or RC. You can download it from the DigiLocker or M-Parivahan app and it has been fully validated and will be completely accepted. As per this amendment, if a vehicle is obtaining interrogated by the police, it will be updated on the online site. Next is, any physical verification of any document is not demanded. If in case the police require to suspend a driving license, they can do it by using the portal available online. Next is, under the new terms for the traffic, the behavior of the driver will be noted and this will be updated by the powers on the online websites. Next is, e-challans will be published to people for violation of traffic terms. Next is, as per the new traffic terms, you do not require to have hard copies of any documents. You can easily carry soft copies of your car-related documents. These amendments have now been applied to the whole of the country. So therefore, it is mandatory for each and every individual to follow traffic rules while riding on the road, as these rules help people to be safe and help them to drive in the disciplined manner. and whosoever is being found violating such or any of the rules must be imposed with fines and in some cases imprisonment, as being discussed in this video. So with this, we end up with the first part of this topic. In the second part, we will be discussing about the method to pay traffic challan both online and offline. So with this, we ends up with our video. If you have any suggestions regarding my video, do let me know in the comment box section. And if you like my efforts which I tried to pour in this video, do like, share and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to press the bell icon parallel to the subscribe button in order to get notified when I will upload my further videos. So it's the time to leave now. So until we meet again, stay home, stay safe, do take care of yourselves, do take care of your families, and there's a goodbye. Thanks for watching.